I do not often make specific concrete predictions about the future in tech because I think that predicting the future is inherently a fool's errand. But I'm going to make one now. The lawyers for the Disney Corporation are going to be suing Elon Musk very, very shortly. And the reason why is that there are absolutely no guardrails, as far as we can tell, on the image generation AI that his company X just released. If you can release an image generation AI that allows you to show Disney characters like Mickey Mouse doing things that are against the brand without consent from the corporation, you, as the company who built the model, are going to be headed straight to court to talk with Disney's lawyers. Disney's lawyers literally wrote the book on trademark and copyright. A lot of our copyright law comes from the Disney Corporation in the way they have worked with the court system to protect the intellectual property of Disney characters. And I'm calling Disney out specifically here, but I'm not saying they're the only ones. You are going to have a lot of individuals who are celebrities coming for X as well. Because another guardrail that just doesn't seem to be there in X is that you can build celebrity images showing celebrities doing things that they've never actually done. And that's going to be a problem, especially as these images are near photorealistic. People are going to look at them and they're going to say, oh, this is what this political figure did when they didn't do it. This is what this musician did when she didn't do it. And I recognize that part of the value proposition that X is building is that it is a place where the idea is that you are the one, almost in a libertarian sense, who is responsible for your choice of speech and that you should be free to express yourself. And so I wasn't surprised to see that the model had virtually no guardrails. But considering the difference between the very, very structured guardrails for other image generation, other LLMs, other large language models that we have in the wild, like Midjourney, like ChatGPT, like Gemini, like Copilot. These are all models where there are entire teams of highly paid professionals whose job it is to ensure that they're not used in an unsafe manner, to ensure that they're not used in a manner that violates copyright or violates trademark. If you decide to build a highly capable model now, after all of those guardrails are in place for other models, and just ignore all of that and just say you can do whatever you want, you are going to get into a situation where no one will believe you if you say you can't do it. It will look more intentional than it would have 8 months ago, 12 months ago, 24 months ago. And you are going to attract the kinds of bad actors that society at large will view as reprehensible. So you're doing some brand damage, right? I've seen pictures of violence on Twitter, on X, that come from that model generation of artwork that were shocking, that should not be just rolling through on a social network without any kind of consent, without any kind of guardrails at all. And most of the people who are using these networks are supposed to be grown-ups anyway, right? I get that this is a grown-up environment. That does not mean that you can violate IP, violate trademarks, and expect to get away with it for long. So I'm paying attention to this because typically when these things happen, they don't stay in the wild long. It is going to be a situation, I expect, where there will be some sort of injunction, where there will be some sort of ruling from a judge that says either you need to put guardrails into this model now, or you need to make sure that you pay for damages and take the model down. Something like that. That's my guess. The problem is guardrails have to be deeply rooted to work in LLMs. If you just slap something that's kind of at the prompt level on the very end, I mean, yes, Apple's prompts leaked. There is some prompt guarding there, but you also have to think about making sure that the training materials you're using are not training materials that are going to be harmful, that give the LLM or give the image generation tool features inside their latent space that let them produce harmful material easily. Now, these tools are trained on so much data. I understand that you cannot catch every single thing that they look at, but there is something to be said for making sure that you are not intentionally training them on the kinds of material that is going to cause real problems for you, the brand that built the model, down the road. This actually came up, you may recall I guess it was 2 or 3 months ago, Google rolled out their AI answers system and they didn't have full guardrails on it. And you started to get really, really hateful Google answers come through that seemed to be highly correlated to similar answers on Reddit. That is the kind of thing where guardrails weren't fully baked in, and Google went back and fixed that. Like, we don't talk about that as much anymore because Google went back and their team addressed it. Like, they had tried to put guardrails in, but they hadn't put enough in. They had a whole team on that, and they fixed it. I don't think it will be quite that fast if you have intentionally built the entire structure of your business, your brand, and your org to not put guardrails in. It's going to be hard to add them now. So I don't know what's going to happen for Elon and X, but I am sure paying attention because we have not seen a GPT-4 class model come out. We have not seen a highly sophisticated image model come out with this few guardrails this publicly in a while, right? Like maybe since the launch of ChatGPT. Yes, there are always ways to jailbreak. Yes, there are models on other parts of the web that are not as publicly available that are intentionally jailbroken. I know those things exist, but putting it in a public brand where you own the brand and you have hundreds of millions of people in the app is a different thing. And I think the lawyers at the Disney Corporation are going to agree. So I will be really curious to see how this goes.